one of the top analysts in all the land. I could not be more thrilled to welcome back to the show before we're on the clock ourselves for yet another draft for NFL Network, Daniel Jeremiah, joining us from Cleveland, Ohio. How you doing, DJ?
I'm doing great, Rich. I just swung over to Wahlburgers and grabbed a burger. Never had a Wahlburger before.
Okay.
So that's what we're getting into here.
Okay, very good. Well, look, man, I'm thrilled to hear that. I can't wait to be with you at the draft and cherish every moment, because who the hell knows if we're going to be around Sunday, DJ? So we're going
to. According to Kyle.
Right, we got to take it all in. What did you make of the 49ers brass press conference yesterday, and what we can glean about the third overall selection?
So I'll tell you, on a grand scale, I used to laugh at those press conferences. I used to think nothing gets said, you can't learn anything, nobody's going to tip anything. And then a couple years ago, I think probably when I moved into this role, I had our buddy Jack Andrade, who does the research. I said, Jack, can you just comb through these press conferences for me and just see what stands out? And he would, and I'm telling you, Rich, if there's 32 press conferences, maybe 10 to 12, you get something out of there. And this fell into the category of, I thought you got something out of this press conference. Definitely. I mean, just everything that was said and how it was said, it just all points to Mac Jones. I think the one line that stood out to me the most was, we came into this with one guy in mind when we made the trade, okay? And then he goes, but, and I'm waiting for, but the other guy's caught up. He goes, but he got even better. And so did everybody else. And so I was like, well, that just still, to me, from the words, still points to Mac Jones.
So why does it point to Mac Jones? Because you know that is part of the reason why that press conference took place yesterday, not only because it's usually part and parcel of brass to do that before a draft, but also there is some priming of the 49er fan base pump with already a hue and cry in Northern California about Mac Jones's seemingly imminent drafting, third overall.
Well, I'd say to explain it this way, I do my evaluations somewhat generically, right? So I'm not affiliated with a team, so I'm evaluating the talent and what this guy can be, and that's how I watch him and write him and rank him. Kyle Shanahan is watching and evaluating these guys in a very specific way for how exactly they plug into what he wants to do.
Right.
And I've talked to, trying to do my homework on this pick in the last couple of days, I talked to somebody who had interviewed Kyle for a head coaching job before he got the Niners job. And he said, when we talked about quarterbacks, he said it begins and ends with accuracy. Like, that is the most important thing, is how accurate you are with the football. And that's a huge strength of Mac Jones. So, not the arm strength, not the great athlete. We've heard, obviously you hear about how smart he is, how quick he processes, all those things. But if accuracy is the be-all, end-all, and the guy completed 77% of his passes, he's the most accurate guy right now. So that's why, in my opinion, that's why Kyle is where he is on this evaluation.
Well, Kurt Warner has come out and said, when you have somebody there in Jimmy G and you trade up to get, his replacement and give up all that you're giving up to get the replacement, you get somebody different. I don't need to tell you what Bucky Brooks said on this show, because you do a podcast at Move the Sticks with him, equating the Alabama staff and his teammates as the Iron Man suit that makes him a superhero, not who he is without the suit. So why wouldn't it be Lance or Fields, right? Where you go and get somebody who can actually, run out of the pocket and make all those, boots and all those stretch plays actually may be dangerous from the quarterback keeping it.
That's what I would do, right? So,
right.
That's what I would do. I would take Trey Lance, and I would be okay. If it wasn't Trey Lance, I'd be fine taking Justin Fields. Kind of going through that whole process with both those guys, that would be my choice between those two, because I do think they expand the playbook, and they kind of use a phrase you hear more and more with the NFL right now. You get to play 11 on 11. When you've got your quarterback that can move around and run a little bit, you're no longer playing 10 on 11 anymore. That's somebody that the other side has to worry about. And that to me, I thought that there was a chance that would be what would be really appealing to Kyle Shanahan, is here is this unbelievable creative guy who could now change the math with having a quarterback you have to account for, and what can he do with him? We go back to the RG3 and saw what he did there in Washington. I think if he had his choice, he'd much rather have a guy that can process and accurately deliver the football. I just personally believe that both Trey and Justin, while they might not be at Mac Jones' standard of accuracy right now, I think they can get there. I know Mac Jones is never going to acquire the athleticism that those two kids have.
Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. I have Trey Lance joining me in an hour. You told me a story about you chit-chatting with Trey Lance and how that came about. I'm going to ask him about it later on because I'm going to elicit the story from you now. Please share with the audience your interactions personally with Trey Lance. Daniel.
Yeah, look, Rich, if I could, I would spend time one-on-one with all of these kids. And it used to be easier to do when we were out and going to pro days, right? You can visit with a bunch of them. Mm-hmm. Now I'm kind of limited to who, might just be working out in the area and who I can get a connection through to get to them. But Trey, a lot of these kids, when they're making their decisions on whether they're going to come out or what they're going to do, they'll get a hold of me, and I'll have a chance to just kind of tell them, hey, this is where I think you would go. This is why you would benefit from coming out. This is why you would benefit from going back to school. I don't make any decisions for him, but I just want to give him information. So I had that conversation with him on the phone previously. Then he was going to be working out with John Beck in L.A., so we set up a breakfast, and I went and had breakfast with him and really spent probably an hour and a half with him. And I left there thinking, okay, this kid is incredibly intelligent. He's got a presence about him, which is something you don't know unless you're with them, right? You got to be in their presence to see if they have a presence, and he does. We talked ball. He's well advanced beyond a kid that's 20 years old. He's impressive, man. You'll see it when you talk to him. I promise you. You call me after it's done, or we'll talk tomorrow. But I guarantee you, Rich, you'll be impressed by this kid. And I'm left with this thought, which is, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen were not finished products when they entered the NFL. But what they were incredibly gifted, and they were incredibly intelligent. And those guys just figure it out, man. They figure it out. And that's why I am with this kid. I think he's not there right now, but he's so smart and so talented, I'll bet on him.
So how many prospects call you? Like knock on your door and reach out to you. And again, I know that's not what this is about. Okay,
yeah,
it's about many other aspects of this. But how many that shows initiative? And I'm biased. Like I literally, when I was looking for a TV job, I got in a suit and a tie and I put my tapes, because that's how long ago it was, in the trunk of my car, and I drove around upstate New York, knocking on news directors' doors looking for a job. Like I front load the interview and I try insatiable desire to find out information. How often? I'm fascinated by this. Is this an outlier for you?
Well, I'll give you a couple other stories. So when I was scouting and we did the Senior Bowl, you always do all these interviews with players, right? So you have your list of guys, you got to interview them. And in the history of doing that over 8 years, and this hundreds and hundreds of interviews, every kid has finished up the interview. I've asked for their phone number. They've given it to me to make sure that I could get a hold of them. We could get a hold of them if we were going to draft them. One kid during 8 years asked for my phone number and then texted me all the time. I've told the story before, and it was with the Eagles and saying, you guys, if you pick me, I'm going to lead this team to Super Bowls. It was Russell Wilson. So that's the first time that somebody did that. True story. Texted me every week. If the Eagles draft me, I'm going to lead not the Super Bowl. I promise you I will lead the Eagles to multiple Super Bowls if they draft me, if you guys draft me. So there's some guys that are wired like that. This year, another great example, Ian Book. I went and we're one of these training facilities in Dallas, Michael Johnson's folks. I think you've done stuff with them before,
yes.
Rich. We'll get to. I want to hear that story. But they have their group that trains, probably 40, 50 guys. So they had me get on a Zoom and talk to them about the combine interviews, what to expect. Zoom interviews with teams because there's no combine this year. So to give some advice, well, we finish up the thing, 40, 50 kids. I don't know how Ian got my phone number, but he obviously asked somebody there that set this up. He got my phone number, texted me, thanked me for speaking to everyone, and then asked me 3 or 4 other questions. So there's, probably the number of kids a year that I will talk with like this is probably 7 to 10. But most of the time, Rich, those are the guys that end up being better than where they're picked because they're just wired a little bit differently.
So are the Eagles going to take Russell, and the Seahawks beat you to the punch? What happened?
Yeah, it's out there. It's very much out there. That was going to be the pick there for the Eagles in the third round, and then Seattle got in front of us, or Seattle was in front of us and took him. So this was the story forever, right? It's the saddest story ever. If you're an Eagles fan, it's an awfully sad story. But then, we ended up taking Nick Foles after that.
Well,
so at least Foles came back, and you get a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP out of that whole deal.
Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. First defensive player off the board will be who?
Surtain.
To who? Dallas?
I just filed my last mock draft, which you're on this, right? Tomorrow night, you hosting this bad boy?
I will be hosting it Wednesday night on NFL Network. That is correct, sir. What do we have? It's 9 bells. I think it's 8 bells. 8 bells. Is that what 8 Eastern time? Wednesday night. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think that is right.
Okay,
I think that is right.
I
mean, we can't give away the mock, So if you're asking me where Surtain's going to go, I have a rule about these things.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
RHULE.
Very good, everybody. So that means Dallas will have to go shopping for something else. Maybe that'll be they'll just lift up the goalpost pad in Cowboy Stadium and take out a flip phone and call J.C. Horn. Is that what you're saying? Is that what they're going to do?
I can neither confirm nor deny where I'm headed, but I'm getting a little nervous. We're starting to share a brain. We've been together too long, buddy.
Oh, so then it's a waste of my time to say, give me. All right. Does anybody in your mock trade up for a quarterback in your mock?
Yes. Confidence level, very low. Very low.
Okay. All right. I can't wait for this, Daniel. I really cannot. Because honestly, this is to have as many quarterbacks at the top involved and have a team like the 49ers that is 2 years removed from a Super Bowl make such an aggressive maneuver for a quarterback that we don't know the name of, and it is an entire national sort of churning conversation about it. I don't recall anything like this in the 17 drafts that I've hosted for NFL Network, including this one. I don't remember anything quite like this leading up. This is huge.
It's different. It's different, Rich. By the way, housekeeping just got here, so I'm leaving the room. But
that's not awkward at all, Daniel. I mean, that's not awkward at all. Did you get the turn down service? Did you get that too?
I don't know what's going. I just know I got the little knock on the door, opened up, and I figured if she's coming in, I'm going out.
Okay.
So that's where we are.
Another solid evaluation on your part, Daniel. A solid evaluation. All right, now that you're in the hallway, I'll let you go. I will see you on your mock draft show. It's me, you, and Kurt Warner, and is it Charles too? Part of that mock draft show?
I think we got seated. My last piece of advice, Rich. When we're doing that show and we're talking about people trading up, you might want to wear a hoodie. It can get cold out there.
I heard about that. I'm coming dressed for all of it. Do you want to leave me with your new mock draft for hamburgers now that you did the Wahlburger? Do you got one for me?
Oh, my gosh. I left the Wahlburger in the room. Can I sneak back in?
All of a sudden, there's a bite and a mint left on the pillow. It's very strange.
Very possible. Very possible. All right, go Padres, Rich.
Okay. Oh, yeah, right back at you. Great stuff this weekend, man. Great stuff for your pods.
Baseball.
All right, DJ. I'll see you in Cleveland. All right, bud. There's Daniel Jeremiah. There we go. Everybody. DJ's in the hallway. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.